To begin with, one has to marvel at the specific quality of the English language. You see, if you say the version in Latin, you would say, "Primus Deum mortem esse," we believe God to have died. That, I think, is a theory that unifies both sides of the house. Christ has died, said the Book of Common Prayer, and us mortals did in fact kill him. God as man, as it were, has died. But converted as I am to the language of Shakespeare, I should not be facetious. I stand here, not to proselytize, as I'm often accused of doing in this place, not to list the many merits of religion, not even to convince you that God exists. I stand here to refute the silly claim that God, be he real or imagined, had once been and is now dead. On the 15th of April 2019, Notre Dame of Paris is burned. Beams tracing the time of St. Louis returned to dust. Exquisite stained glass windows were shattered. The spires that looked over Joan of Arc's procession, St. Bartholomew's massacre, and the guillotines of the Revolution, the march of Napoleon's and Hitler's eagles, crumbled down. Sometimes we might feel as a fireman feels, treading through what is left of our Christian heritage. All around him, beauty that may at any time collapse, charred remains of sacred objects. Memory tingles of what once had been, and now seems so hollow, irretrievably fragile and lifeless. Yet the cross, somehow, still gleams somewhere. It is not untainted by dust. It is perhaps not altogether upright. One sees, through eyes tearful in the smoke, a golden cross on the altar of ash. According to tradition, this country is a godly country. For centuries, saints and gargoyles alike peered down from many great religious monuments such as this one. But does it feel like now we pay regards to a dead god as a half-hearted formality? The coronation, of course, was quite splendid. But did we really care very much at all about the anointment's divine significance? Sitting quietly on the pews of a neglected parish church, the pomp all seems a bit like a charade of continuity, a splendid museum piece. We celebrate Christmas and have cross buns on Easter Sunday. Do we not sing carols only because we enjoy belting them out at school? In fact, one is apt to recall Chesterton's words. I tell you, not for your comfort, nor for your desire, save that the sky grows darker yet, and the sea rises higher. But do forgive me if I sound like a funereal eulogist. Unlike Nietzsche, I'm not here to lament. But why am I so confident? Is it because of some irrational zeal? Am I myself a relic waiting to be swept away by ties of modernity? Not so. Not any like that. Like the shining cross on the ashes of 1,000 years, I contend that God will never die, whilst the vision of God still lives. In a few millennia, when the traces of this civilization, even you and I, have vanished, a man may yet uncover some long forgotten text, read it, and be drawn to this amazing promise of God. Many theologians may summarize God better than I. The vision of God, for me, offers in place of cosmic skepticism, joy, in place of despair, hope, and in place of danger, love. Suffice it to say that belief in a just and loving God offers an explanation and a solution to the human condition. Inadequate, I'm sure, for some. Even the most obstinate atheist would acknowledge that God is at least a tempting and enduring fiction. It had captivated great minds and inspired countless works of the highest intellect. Nietzsche, of course, claimed that this God vision is replaceable in the modern society. Like a crank-out machine that would eventually be obsolete and part by part entirely replaced. This vision, the proposition we have to contend, is entirely obsolete in the modern day. Whilst the more cynical among you might consign all this to misguided delusion, whether it be truth or delusion, the thought of God persists dauntless. But no matter what material comforts the modern world may furnish us, they could only delay and cushion the fundamentals of life's vicissitudes. We push back illness, we cannot extinguish death. We purge want and poverty, but could not reach perfect justice. We set up idols and ideologies, but they would not save it all. We still cannot avoid staring into the abyss and pondering. We still desire to know what is truly good beyond spreadsheets and cost-benefit analyses. And we may not yet all turn to God for these queries. But so long as these queries are not adequately answered, so long as doubt persists over something more than sensuality or the raw thrusts of power, God still shall be among us, and few have deserted. Today, as His Lordship said, there are more believers of God than in any other previous age. Nevertheless, in many countries such as this, the lamp perhaps is sometimes dim at the altar. Yet have we not seen this before? When the first Christians were in their rags and in their droves being herded into the Colosseum, the onlookers too said they were misguided, deluded, subversive. In the French Revolution, the priests were enemies of this seemingly unstoppable march of reason and progress. The revolutionaries tried in vain to wash out God with bloodshed. Under the totalitarians of the 20th century, arguably the vision of Nietzsche's own Leutner, tens and thousands of the faithful were submitted to firing squads or gulags in quest of this godless utopia. But under the Nazi yoke, Father Herbert's martyrdom offers a glimpse into this amazing vision of God. His act of self-sacrifice, the sacrifice into the gas chamber for a total stranger's sake, is a pure and selfless act, inexplicable except with reference to faith in God. Here is a certainty. That was not nothing. More recently, we hear similarly harrowing tales from the Libyan deserts. 20 Christians were beheaded by ISIS for refusing to give up their faith. The spirit of the Colosseum and of Colbert is still alive in the world today. For the persecuted, the idea of God is the ultimate freedom and refuge no tormentor can ever deprive them of. And this freedom and this justice will always be alluring on its own terms. There is always a shaft of light in the blackest of despair. The hope of God's justice has always been that light. There is, in fact, a meaning. If you think this idea of God is irrational, well, I see where you're coming from. If you say this idea is wrong and harmful, well, I disagree. But if you are to declare this idea dead, when to this day so many risk so much in its pursuits, when the idea continues to enthuse and confound in literature and philosophy and many other fields, when the worship of God has ebbed and flowed and survived the unsleeping efforts of princes, gauleiters, and commissars to distinguish it, to declare that this idea lacks vitality, the proposition would, I think, be finding themselves on the more deluded side of the house. Indeed, God's image may yet be removed from Westminster Abbey. Cathedrals like this may yet return to rubble like the first or the second temple. The Church of England, God forbid, may yet be established. But even if we grant Nietzsche's prophecy, let that immense frightful shadow retreat, and let modern European morality collapse, that will only return the state of God's promise to the very beginning. When lonely apostles preached the hostile world, and the likeness of God presided over ragged catacombs. None of this necessarily supposes that God must be real, but what has more life than the alluring, undying possibility? If you are at least touched by this possibility, you will probably vote for the opposition. I shall conclude in the words of Kipling. The tumult and the shouting dies, the captains and the kings depart. Still stands thine ancient sacrifice, of humble and a contrite heart. Lord God of hosts, be with us yet, lest we forget, lest we forget. Okay.